Visible with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for all men and women overseas and our first responders here that put their lives out there for our safety and our security. Thank you. All cell phones in vibrate mode. All cell phones vibrate mode. Any phone calls must be taken out of this room. This room is too small to endure phone calls. Thank you. Jeremy, it's yours.
Good, thank you. We have the commander of the 49 precinct here. We're going to turn over the mic to him. Captain.
How you doing? Good evening, everyone. It's great to see everybody. I hope everyone had a great summer. First, thank you very much. I guess I'm the first speaker up here. Just I'll talk real quick. I won't get too much into crime stats, but we're doing very well with our violent crimes, our 7 major crimes year to date. Actually, out of the 12 precincts in the Bronx, we have the greatest reduction in overall crime. And again, that's I'm going to say that's a tribute to the police officers and detectives and everyone over at the 49 precinct. I guess just want to get into a couple things. Usually we'll make this quick. We'll open up the floor to any complaints or problems or concerns anyone has. Is that okay? For the board? For the board? Any questions, complaints? There's got to, I was going to say, yeah, there's got to be one. Okay. Okay.
So last weekend, I know you guys had a funeral at St. Clair's, and of course, my condolences to your colleague who passed away, and I know you had to block off several streets in order to accommodate. However, I wanted to bring to your attention that Friday night / really Saturday morning, about 1:30 in the morning, the whole neighborhood was kept up all night with sirens and bullhorns, and my doorbell rang at 2 o'clock in the morning by your officers telling people that they had to move cars. And this went on all night long, and then when the buses came in, they were idling for hours. Long story short, I know me personally didn't get any sleep that night, and probably most of my neighbors didn't either.
Okay. No,
and I understand why you had to do what you had to do, but
no,
I feel like that could have been done in the morning.
Again, that's a lesson learned. Going forward, if we have any other events or funerals in the command, that's something that I'll definitely take into consideration and make sure that we nip in the bud. So to get to that point, but just to you, what happens is we do put up no parking signs a couple days before, and what we try to do is we try to get the residents to move their vehicles so that we don't have to tow them. Because what happens is we tow them and we may take them 2-3 blocks away, and it becomes very difficult. So yeah, we unfortunately it was 1:30 in the morning, but that was the purpose of knocking on doors. We could definitely do a better job with that, and we will going forward.
They could have knocked on the doors at like 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, not at 1:30, and then again at 3, and then towing cars at 5. It was just extremely loud. And then, like I said, the buses were idling for about 3 hours.
Okay, it's noted. It won't happen again.
Thank you.
I hope everybody had a good summer. Welcome back. Captain, welcome back to you, too.
Thank you.
I know you're aware of this problem, but the problem's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Holland, on the south side of Lydic Avenue. I had to be out of the house at 10 to 8 the other morning. There were eight people standing and waiting for their drugs. You could see it very plainly that they pass along these little plastic envelopes. We need a patrol there in the morning. We need a patrol there in the afternoon. We need a patrol there at night. The other thing is we were promised cameras on Barnes, Wallace, Kruger, and we never got them. The money was allocated, and from the person I spoke to, they said it was up to the precinct to push it along. So I'm asking, actually pleading, we need those cameras because we need a safe place for our kids and our seniors to walk.
Okay, so Edith, you brought up 2 very good points. The first, that's definitely something we can work on tonight. I have my special operations lieutenant with me. We do some low-level narcotics enforcement. That's definitely a area that we'll be targeting. Number 1, and number 2, as far as the cameras go, just want to let you know I got here in November of last year. Probably in December, I sat down with Councilman Mark Jonai and he had explained to me that certain funds were earmarked for a number of Argus cameras within the 4-9 precinct. We went over several locations, and like you said, Lydig Avenue is penciled in, I think, to get 3 or 4 of them, from basically Lydig, from White Plains Road up to Barnes. So that was submitted, and I have done everything that I can with my agency to push it along. So I checked in again. I was told at the beginning of the year that they were out surveying and they were going to install the cameras sometime in March or April. As you know, that did not happen. I reached out to my higher-ups again during the summer, and apparently there was a contractual issue with the company that installs the cameras. They were going with a new company that had some problems with the company that was installing the cameras, so they told me September. So here we are, September, and they're still not installed. But no, I'm on it. I've been contacting downtown, and like you said, we need them, and the money's been sitting there for almost a year now.
Well, I've spoken to Mark, and he's the one that's directed me. But I noticed Throg's Neck was done.
I agree.
Our money was allocated way before Throg's Neck.
I-
Not that every community doesn't need them. Please don't misunderstand me. But we are in dire need because where Kruger has improved a little bit, we're getting it now on Holland.
I agree. You know, as a commanding officer, I want the cameras too. You know, the cameras, they help us, you know, after something happens, and is also preventative in nature, you know, so.
Well, that's the whole thing. Why wait for the cancer to spread? Why not prevent it?
I agree. That's why I'm on the phone with downtown as often as I can be. You're welcome.
Mike, Hazel, Mike.
Hi, Captain. How are you?
Hi, Hazel, how are you?
2 things. We had an incident at the McDonald's on White Plains by Allerton Avenue, and we also had another incident this morning on Allerton and Olinville, and I wanted to know first if it's gang-related, and are the 2 incidents related to themselves and what's been going on there?
Okay, so it's, not that it's funny that you bring this up, but this is a conversation I had with 4-9 detectives probably about half an hour ago. So I'm aware of both incidents. As of right now, there is no evidence to say that the 2 incidents are related. However, not enough has been done yet. We still have to pull some video from McDonald's from yesterday's incident to see if we see the same individuals on tape. I personally believe that it's not coincidental. I think they are related to one another. So that's number one. To go so far as to say it's gang or crew violence, it looks to be that it's possible. I hate to label it as such, just as yet, you know, facts are still preliminary. There were 5 arrests made, as you pointed out. I don't know if too many people know about what happened today, but a kid was stabbed earlier this morning. He was stabbed and slashed twice by approximately 5 to 10 individuals. So he's very cooperative. He's helping with the investigation. So 5 arrests were made. But at this time, no one is confessing to saying that they are a gang or crew member. Because that's obviously one of the things we talked to them about. Are you part of a gang? Are you part of a crew? Because obviously we want to know what motivated this to happen. You know, this way we can put the right people in place in the future to prevent it from happening again. So is there anything else? Anything
No.
I didn't answer?
No. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I just had a question about the NCOs. Do they walk along the regular perimeters, like, say, Morris Park, Eastchester Road, Williamsbridge Road, or are they supposed to also walk down the side streets so that the people get a feel for who they are? Because I have yet to see one on Eastchester Road or even on the side streets going down Astor, Mace, or Waring.
Okay,
And I'm not alone. I've asked other people. Where
so-
are they?
Right. So let me just point out. So, you know, in the 4-9, we have 3 sectors. Each sector has 2 NCOs designated to the sector. So, if you think about it logistically, 2 NCOs for a rather large geographical area. They do focus primarily on the common thoroughfares, like you pointed out, Morris Park, Williamsbridge Road. However, what would bring them down the secondary streets, you know, your side streets, would be community complaints. You know, if 311 calls or complaints directly to them, would bring them down the side streets, say, for example, Hone Avenue or Radcliffe or something like that, that would bring them down there. But normally, they're not walking down there.
Because back in the summer, I had a complaint. There were cars blocking my driveway entrance. A week later, I get a reply. Of course, the person wasn't there. So that's another.
No, you're right. That's very frustrating. It's almost like a slap in the face getting a reply a week later.
Okay. But now we know. Thank you.
Captain, your NCOs made an arrest last night about somebody stealing packages from UPS.
Yes, they did. We had an arrest made by the U.S. Postal Service with the assistance of the U.S. Postal Service, where they sent in a individual, and working with the Postal Service, that individual actually took a package out of a postal carrier's actual cart, and they were able to arrest that person. They also made another arrest of somebody stealing Amazon packages. And that individual has been working with us trying to make determination of where other packages have been taken and who they're giving them to. So that's an ongoing.
I want to thank you for that because that's been an ongoing problem in the community.
Well, maybe that's why they didn't want to leave my package.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right, so we're going to move on to the gallery session. If you're not familiar with how this works, if you signed up one of these slips to speak, we ask that the speakers come to the microphone right there, and you have 2 minutes. And Frano here will give you a 30-second warning. He doesn't have the board tonight. We left that at the office, so he will have to verbally announce 30 seconds left. And the questions or statements you can respond to from board members has been moved from 2 to 4. So if everybody's, well, we'll just move on. So first gallery session speaker. If we can kind of keep this tight, we got 4 people about the same issue, 2500 Williamsbridge Road, which we plan on voting on later. We'll start with Larry Morelio.
Thanks, Jeremy. Briefly, I'm representing Larry Moreno from the Alton Merchant Association. We went to the meeting a couple of weeks ago regarding 2500 Williamsbridge. They're proposing to put a methadone clinic there, as well as a physical abuser clinic. This is right opposite. This is right across the street from PS 96, right down the block from the housing project, and this is very bad for the neighborhood. We've already got a problem with Waters Place. The police department is overutilized over there. This is not good for this neighborhood. We've got people in the area are shut in to begin with in that project area. If this thing goes there, they're afraid to get out of their house to begin with. And then you're putting this clinic, as they quote unquote clinic, right up from the school where little children are. And this is unacceptable to us in the Allerton neighborhood. We want to our voice with the board to oppose this. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Dom Shannon, Mike.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I was at that meeting, and everybody that was at that meeting who was representing the board unanimously said that we were going to bring it up this evening and ask the full board to vote against it totally. So I think that basically, you gave us a little information for the people who weren't at the meeting, but the people who were at the meeting were adamantly against it.
So if you look at anybody that has got an agenda from the front, item number 9A, the leadership motion is to send a letter of objection. So we'll hopefully vote on that later under committee reports. Irene Estrada Rukaj, Irene Estrada.
Hello, I'm a former member of Community Board 11, and I am here before you to ask for your support. I know there's going to be a poll in it, but we need more action. I did speak to Mark Janai on Tuesday, and I told Mark to make this problem go away. I told him I would be a thorn in his flesh if he even allows it to be across the street from children at PS 89. We have St. Lucy's is going to be in danger, Columbus High School, St. Catherine's, the Blind Institute, we have PS 76, we have all the children in that district, and our residents and our elderly that go into the housing for the lunches. We also have all those people in Town Parkway houses. No one knew about this. I spoke to all the parents this week and last week with Principal Martinez. No one had no insight about this. You cannot be doing something into our communities if you don't make us aware of it. I came here to tell you it's not going to happen, number one. Number two, we as taxpayers in our district have to understand that this site and facilities want to be paid by your tax dollars. This cannot be acceptable. That's another unacceptable. Number one, the safety of our children. Mark says he's for safe things in our community. It's not safe for us. It's not better. So I'm asking you not only to oppose it, but I'm passing out a flyer that says no methadone clinic for PS 89 is dangerous for all children in our community. We're asking you to sign it because it also says we are opposing any methadone clinic in our district, not just on Allerton Avenue. We don't want it on Morris Park, we don't want it on Van Ness, we don't want it on Bronxville, we don't want it on Bronx Park East, Morris Park, we don't want it on Gun Hill Road, we don't want it anywhere around us. We are a structured district with family matters. We put ourselves first, God first, then our families, then our community. As the minister, I'm telling you, this is beyond measure. It's unacceptable. We're praying about it. We have a lot of backup, a lot of families, a lot of churches, but now we need signatures. Why? If we get signatures from Morris Park, it means that we don't want it there. If we get signatures from Venice, we don't want it there.
Thank you, Irene. Joe meant a question. Mike, please pass the mic. And then Frano.
Irene, thank you for your advocacy. We appreciate it. It seems like we all stand united. Where would you like these once you sign? Because I'll bring these to my homeowners to sign. So then how do we get them back to you? Can she speak on the microphone? Because I'm asking her a question.
All of the papers that are being filled out, it has my phone number and my name. I'm asking you to return it to a committee board 11. You can call me and we'll pick up. I know that all of us are board members in our own districts. You can sign the petitions, make copies, have your own community sign them, and we submit them all together with Jeremy. Our goal is 5,000. Our goal is if it's more, we can get out there, make copies, and do it. There's nothing that we cannot do together. We bind together. Enough is enough, and we're going to decide what comes in and what's going to go out. And I told Mark, if you don't do good for our community, we're going to get rid of any elected officials that want to bring garbage into our community. From senators to senators and to everything. Because Mrs. Strada has had enough, and I know that everybody's hands are tied. When you come to your jobs, you can't speak and voice yourselves. But even the captain said on Tuesday, this is unacceptable.
Okay. Just a point of information. While we appreciate Mark Jonah and other local politicians have to do something, this is a state program, unfortunately. Oasis manages this. They provide these drugs, and unfortunately, it's like a legalized drug den. That's how I want to call this. So Natalia and our state senator will be the best to pursue this. Not that Mark shouldn't, but this is a state program. That's where we got to go. We have to go, Brian, please. Thank you. We have to go through our state elected officials and push them more than anybody else. Thank you.
And Irene, as far as all elected officials go in our community are against it.
Everyone that
I've spoken to is against
I spoke to Mark.
He's against, he's 100%
Mark
against
said that it's a state level, and he said that he's going to try to fix it. But you know what? Sonny is his chief of staff, and he needs to fix it.
That's not, you don't know the whole story. First learn the whole story. Irene, first learn the whole story before you accuse. That's not the case. Sonny didn't, no. You find out the whole story.
Just to make the meeting quicker, please hold off applause or additional comments so we run a proper meeting. Thank you.
So in every board member's packets, there's a letter that was sent to Exit Realty. If a member of the public wants a copy of that letter, we can get it to you. It was sent to St. Catherine's. It was sent to the New York City Parks Department. the elected officials that are representing that area, as well as the other schools, Institute for Special Education and whatnot. Darrell, you had a question, comment? Go ahead.
I just wanted to know the turnaround time on that methadone clinic. What are they trying to, build that in that particular area? Do you know the turnaround time of when they move that?
I don't know. Maybe they know. They have to pay. Oh, you might know.
Oasis still has to approve it.
So, so I guess my question is, do we have like a month, 2 months to act? Like,
There's the sooner the better.
Okay.
I mean, there's no timeline that I'm aware of that would be easy for us.
All right.
Jeremy, I think we need to also send our objections directly to Oasis. They are the ones that will make the final determination. If we need to, we should go as a group and have a rally at their main area. Politicians could do all they can. Oasis needs to hear from us directly.
Is that 4 comments or that's 4 supposedly? Patricia Wolf from St. Catherine Academy.
Thank you very much. My name is Sister Patricia Wolf, and I'm the president of St. Catherine Academy. And St. Catherine's is located at 2250 Williams Ridge Road, so 3 blocks from the center that is under discussion. We are an all-girls school as a starter. I just wanted to report that we conducted an online petition at our school, taking the position and opposition to the placement of this particular center. And I'm here to present that we have 568 signatures between Tuesday and today. So it can continue to run, but I don't know, to whom do I give these? Here we go.
And then last but not least on the matter would be Roxanne Delgado.
Hello, how are you? I'd like to continue what Irene stated. First, I am opposed to this proposed site for the methadone clinic. However, I'm very disappointed with the lack of transparency from Community Board 11. First, we had barely 24-hour notice for the presentation at the health committee a few weeks ago, and then we didn't have any notice about this letter that was sent to all the elected officials in surrounding schools regarding your position on this. Even though I do agree with it, I would have liked you to engage the community on that decision, as well as we're not having a town hall meeting on this issue as well. Now, I do agree that it's not only do we not need this clinic, because we have 9 providers, 1 inpatient, 1 in place 2 in Jacoby Hospital, 1 not far away from where I live. So we do have providers. We're not against providers. We have enough. But unfortunately, Oasis doesn't reject application based on its proximity to a school. So I hate to disappoint people when they use, yes, I agree with you, it should be next to a school, but there's many providers that are located near schools, so we need to have a better argument to have this application rejected. And I like to agree, we have to not avoid the elephant in the room. A real estate developer, a real estate broker behind this happens to have worked with our current state assembly member and worked for our current city council member. And this is a real estate development deal. This property is valued overpriced because of this pending application. So this is another issue where real estate developers profit off the backs of the community. It happened with Blondell Commons. We just read on Crane News that it was a pay-for-play and the developer just received $1.4 million. Wait, I guess this is 90 minutes. So I'd like to say, don't, just because the politicians say I agree with the community, words are words. Let's have action. Let them be out there fighting for the community. Don't just say, oh, Mondays with Mark, I'm against it. I don't need Mondays with Mark. I need you to go out there and fight for us. Thank you.
I think it's just worth noting that, so people are talking about Exit Realty, Sonny Vitage, who was the chief of staff for Joe and I when he was in the assembly, which was obviously a few years ago. Doesn't mean he works for him currently. Yes, no one's disputing that. So we'll move on to the next gallery session speaker, Emerald Hammer. If I mispronounce your name, I apologize, regarding transportation alternatives, or from. And this is separate from the Morris Park safety improvements, right? Okay, great.
Hi, my name is Emerald Hamer with Transportation Alternatives. I actually presented the Safer Boston Road campaign to the Transportation Committee on the 16th, and I'm here today to ask you to support that initiative. This is because we have had a number of crashes within this area when we actually did our study. What we're asking the DOT to do is have a study of Boston Road from Twiggs Place all the way to Ropes Avenue. And we're looking to make sure that most people, I think you can remember last Tuesday, we recently had a crash on White Plains Road and 215th Street where a 1-year-old child was killed, and I don't think any family should have to endure that. So I'm only here today to ask, please support that the DOT does a study of Boston Road.
Excuse me 1 second. What were the streets again, please?
Boston Road from Twiggs Place to Ropes Avenue.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Kevin Diola regarding Morris Park Community Corridor safety improvements.
Thank you. I'm here as a commuter, as a resident of the area, but not necessarily in Community Board 11. I've spoken to you many times. I really kind of wish our councilman was here and the captain was here also, so I'm not really directing this to the board, but I just want to bring up again that Morris Park Avenue is no safer now than it was a year ago. It's no safer now than it was 6 months ago. There's been over 13 crashes on Morris Park Avenue since May, since the injunction was put forward and held up the DOT safety improvements. Within that time, I got some notes, within that time there have been 20 injuries, people taken to the hospital within those 13 crashes. Community Board 11 in general has had over 250 people taken to the hospital since that same point in May till September 1st. 15 cyclists, 34 pedestrians, and 201 motorists. All I'm saying is that, you know, I wish there were some people here from the Business Association as well. We need to fight. I think that we need to stop this injunction and let the DOT put the safety improvements in. I ride my bike on that road very often. If the captain was here, I would talk about the double parkers. If Mark John and I was here, or our councilman, I should say, I would talk about legislation to make drivers more responsible. In the meantime, that's usually my story. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Luisa Ferreras, I apologize if I mispronounced anybody's name. This is regarding substance use treatment for youth, Waters Place.
Good evening, Community Board. My name is Luisa. I'm actually from Montefiore, from Waters Place. I am here to talk about our youth program for substance use treatment. It's right here on the corner. I walked here from our center, and I wanted to just give information about it. We help youth in the age of 14 to 24 years old who are struggling. As we all know, substances is becoming very prominent in our community, and we're just one of the resources that are trying to be available and accessible to everyone who would be interested. In our program, we do things like individual and group therapy and career development, of course, for the youth. There's a multitude of things that I could get into, but I know we only have 2 minutes. This is the flyer. I'm gonna leave it in the front or something, or come see me, and we can definitely talk more in depth about it. But definitely, I just wanted to get these resources out because our youth has been struggling a lot lately, especially with things related to marijuana and vaping, and we just want to be there for our community and just be the journey for the community. So thank you.
Can you tell me, young lady, how many youth are a part of the program? How long has the program been in place? Has it grown? Has it, is it increasing, decreasing over the years? Can you give us some information? And have you had any issues with any of the youth during your program?
Yeah, so a lot of good questions. We've been around now for over 3 years. We are Oasis funded, so we're kind of coming to address the issues that's going on in the community with substances. And we have been growing since then. We started out with a census of about a dozen. Now we're closer to 40. But of course, there's more than 40 youth in the community who can definitely use our services. So that's why it's very important for us to get our resources out there for people to know about us, especially in this community since we're located at Waters Place. So is there any other question I missed?
We're in proximity to the I guess the methadone clinic right on Waters is your building.
Yeah, so good question. So we are located at the Wellness Center. So the way it works is that with the OTP, it closes at 2 p.m. So typically when our youth come in, there's no one in the building. It's just, and it is secured by our security in and outside the building, so there's usually no kind of collision there. And since then, our youth the length of the program, they can come in and they graduate really by the assessment of the counselor. But typically when they would go on to college or go into an employment program or something like that, and then oftentimes, actually all the time, our counselors do follow up with them, see how they're doing. So typically I would say it depends from 2 to 2 months, but we've had youth in our program who have been involved for even more than.
And just a couple of quick comments. So no issues with anybody, having any type of violent activity or anything like that? And then are they from the community or they come from outside of the community into here?
To just this community, we take anyone who's interested, and we get them from all over. We get them from ACS, from probation. We get them from just parents who want to refer their kids. We get them from teachers, school counselors. So it varies by a lot. So, but mostly mostly in the Bronx because it's just easier because we're kind of far up in the Bronx here. Okay.
Mariela Salazar from Montefiore regarding upcoming events.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Hope you guys had a great summer. For those who don't know me, for the new faces here, again, my name is Mariela Salazar. I'm a Government and Community Relations Manager for Montefiore. I just have a few upcoming events that I wanted to share with you. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Montefiore is hosting a special event, breast cancer in men and their families. This is going to take place on Wednesday, October 2nd from 5:30 to 8:30 at our Moses campus, which is the campus located on Gun Hill Road. Their dinner will be served. Metro cards will be provided, free handouts. There will be a panel of experts that will discuss prevention and treatment and screening as well. I have flyers, so if you're interested after all of the upcoming events that I share, if you want flyers, just pull me over and I'll share that with you. We also have our annual breast and cervical screening event that is going to take place on Saturday, October 5th. This is going to be free for those who are uninsured and underinsured. No documentation or insurance is required. This will take place at the nearby 1695 Eastchester Road on the 2nd floor. You must register in order for you to receive the service. But again, I have flyers that contain all of the information. And then lastly, one of the programs at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine is hosting an infant mortality awareness event that will take place at Amendola Park on Tuesday, October 8th from 9:30 to 11 a.m. There will be a lot of giveaways, information, and this is again for awareness on infant mortality. Again, if you want any additional information on any of these events, I will be seated at that corner. I have flyers. Any other questions that you have, gladly answer them.
Thank you, Mariela. Great. Last but not least, we had one more for 2500 Williamsbridge Road. That's Grace Lavaglio.
Thank you, guys. Good, welcome back. My name is Grace Lavaglio, and I'm from the Allerton section of CB11. We vehemently oppose this drug clinic to be put anywhere in the area. As far as we are also preparing, Irene is talking to Principal Martinez. There will be a town hall for anybody who wants to come out. I think the tentative date is October 8th, but that will be determined. We'll send out information for anybody who wants to attend that. It was not that we oppose helping people who have a problem with drugs. We have a facility that caters to everyone from anywhere in the Bronx and beyond the Bronx from different boroughs. So we don't need it here. The second thing I wanted to talk about was that there is a bill in Albany that is looking to legalize sex workers, AKA prostitution. This means if this bill goes through and gets passed, a prostitution ring can set up right across the rented apartment, right across from you, and do business, and it's perfectly legal. It will destroy any kind of legislation that we have fought to put in against pedophilia and child trafficking and sex trafficking. So I'm urging everyone to look into that, and please call Biaggi and all the senators and assembly people and tell them we do not want this bill. Last but not least, on a lighter note, this Sunday is Oktoberfest at the waterfront. It's $40 a ticket. Portion of the proceeds will be going to the American Legion to help our veterans. So we're encouraging people to please come and help support our veterans by coming to this. You get a free beer stein, and the free beer is on them. Everything else comes out of your pocket, but it's for a good cause.
Thank you, Grace. So that concludes the gallery session. We'll move on to our elected officials, our representatives. And from the Borough President's Office, let's congratulate Israel Gonzalez on his new position.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome all the new board members. I just have two quick reminders for the board. Just this week, you guys will be receiving the invitation to the orientation session for the new board members. Just please keep in mind that the new board members must attend that. And also for all the board members, the sexual harassment training is a mandatory training one everyone has to do every year. I know not everyone's too fond of that, but you can call me at the Borough President's Office. I can help set that up. It's easier to do it on the computer. It's only 45 minutes opposed to doing it in person, where it's about 2.5 hours. So 45 minutes sounds better than 2.5 hours. So if you need any assistance with that, feel free to reach out to me. If you have any questions, I'll be right in the back. Thank you.
Ish, I think one question the newer board members might have is the ones that attended a training session in the summer. Is it the same thing? No, this is orientation at Lehman College.
Okay, so if they already attended, no, they don't have to attend that. So everyone that did not attend that, I was going to say freshman orientation. The orientation, they're going to get invitation in the mail. So anyone that receives it in the mail, if you have any questions, there's a number on there. You can feel free to give me a call, or the number that's on that flyer.
Edith?
Yeah, so do you know approximately when that may be? Or?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I actually have it here with me, so I can leave a copy with you, and that's going to be October 21st, once again in Lehman College, from 6 to 9 p.m. If any of the new board members need a copy, I can leave you with a copy of this now so you can have it ahead of time.
Okay. Yes, Mike.
Can we still do it in the office? Yes. Right?
Well, the sexual harassment training, yes, you can do it in their office or at the Borough President's Office, whatever you prefer. Some people, quite a few people have taken it already. All right, thank you very much, Ish. Ish used to work for Councilmember Jonai, by the way. From Councilmember Torres' office, we are expecting Mark Jonai at some point. From Councilmember Torres' office, we have Joe McManus.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I put out some, and I thank Jeremy for putting out the flyers that I had. Some was on the services from our office, events in the office, and the 2020 census, which I think is the most important thing. If we don't have enough population, we will lose Congress people. If we lose Congress people, we have less power. Also, it comes back to us in funds for schools, for highways, police, everything that the federal government gives us money back for, hospitals, Medicaid, Medicare, Medicaid, not Medicare. It's determined by population, so that's very important. Also, I'd like to thank Jeremy. When we went to the District Service Council meeting, seems like in Van Nest, they couldn't get this light on Unionport Road, a street lamp. DOT was there, and Con Edison was there. That was Thursday. I got an email from Jeremy Friday that the light was fixed. So, Jeremy, you did a good job. Thank you. Just on a lighter note, many people know that I'm a bird watcher. So, thanks to Councilmember Cohen and Councilmember Jonai. is free bird walks, Pelham Bay Park and Van Cortlandt Park. If you're interested, look on the New York City Audubon website. I'll stay here till the end of the meeting if there's any questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. From Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez's office, actually, yes, Destiny Cruz. Sorry. I know somebody else who's, I'll call up later.
Hi folks, welcome back. As many of you know, my name is Destiny Cruz, and for those who are new, I went around earlier in the meeting, so please feel free to reach out to me for anything. I just have a few legislative updates. Just earlier this week, the Congresswoman announced a suite of bills called the Just Society. There are 6 pieces of legislation that are aimed at addressing housing issues, updating the poverty federal level, and in addition to a few other things. She also has been in support of the impeachment of the president, against the president because of the conversation with the Ukrainian president. Excuse me? Thank you. Yeah, so she has been in support of impeachment. Additionally, we had a housing town hall in Allerton last month, and so next Thursday we're looking to have a housing town hall in Queens. If you'd like to RSVP, you're welcome to meet with me afterwards. Space is limited, so please, if you do want to attend, please RSVP with me. The Congresswoman will be discussing the Just Society bills that she just recently announced. Again, we are co-located with Assemblymember Reyes in Parkchester at 1973 Westchester Avenue. Thank you. I am there Monday through Friday, except for Wednesdays, 9 to 5. You're welcome to come with any cases that you may have. I was speaking with folks earlier. It seems that USPS is an issue. I'm happy to submit an inquiry on your behalf. And if you'd like to discuss that further, again, I'll be here till the end of the meeting. Thank you so much.
Lisa Soto, microphone. It's being recorded.
Are you still planning on opening an office on Leidig Avenue?
No, we're co-located with Assemblymember Reyes.
Oh, so what was the last meeting that you were here? I thought you had mentioned that.
Yeah, so the original plan was to co-locate with Senator Biaggi, but now we're formally co-located with Assemblymember Reyes.
We'll move on to Senator Biaggi's office, Emily Vasquez.
Good evening. I have some announcements. We recently moved from 1250 Waters Place to 3190 Riverdale, but we are hosting mobile office hours at Bronx House, and we're continuing to do Community Board 9 and 10 mobile office hours there. And we have some fairs coming up. So this is a resource fair for Castle Hill Housing on October 16th. And this is Wednesday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. We also have a job fair. October 1st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Christopher Columbus High School. That's all.
Okay, we see hands, Hazel and then Frano. Microphone, Hazel, because it's being recorded.
What's happening on October 16th?
We're having a housing resource fair.
Is that at Bronx House?
No, it's at Watson,
Oh, okay.
2158 Watson Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Frano.
You said that you have satellite hours at the Bronx House. What days are they? And
Wednesdays, every Wednesday.
Okay,
from
and what
10
hours?
10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Is the senator just overlooking this area just for the sake of Riverdale?
The senator is trying to reach as many constituents as possible since we've recently moved, and we're trying to reach all the constituents across District 34. Thank you.
Andrea Siegel and then Yahe.
Be more feasible if she had office hours in the evening also, since a lot of people do work?
We're actually working on that. We're trying to work on having once a month for evening hours, but we're still figuring out the details with Bronx House.
Yeah, the Public Safety Committee has had a hard time contacting someone from Biagi's office. It seems like she's AWOL. I don't know what's going on. We've sent emails, made phone calls. Jeremy tried to set up something where you can attend one of our meetings.
I mean, Jeremy has my email and I haven't received anything.
Yeah, it was for the previous fiscal year, but I've had issues contacting her for different things. So I don't know where she is. I've never seen this woman, so hopefully one day we can see her.
Well, I can give you my email and we can connect with that.
Okay.
I mean, if I can add, she'll be here at the October full board meeting. It's on the district manager's report.
Joe Menta?
Just another comment about the senator's office. So Benny Poi, I understand?
Yes.
That's not you, right?
That is not me. That's the
your
senator.
schedule, right?
That's the senator specialist.
So I was personally with the senator at the 9/11 memorial, and this discussion came up about 2500 Williams Ridge Road. She personally gave me Benny Poi's contact information. He has not returned any of my calls, so I have to, second what, my co-board member Yahe has said. Been very challenging to get a hold of the senator's office, and this is a very sensitive issue. It's a state issue, and we need her to come and hear what's going on.
She's very aware of the issue. Her and I have discussed it at length. She's mentioned that she's opposed to this project. We do have a statement. I don't know if we want to take the time to read the statement from the senator. But if you don't, I'll tell you this. Call tomorrow, Mr. Menta. Call tomorrow. The office is open from 9:30 to 5:30. If you don't get Benny Poi, ask for Miguel Rondon. I'm pretty sure you're going to get us on the line. Rondon, that's R-O-N as in Nancy, D as in David, O-N as in Nancy again.
So if you could share that with us, we won't go through reading it, but if you can send it to me and I'll email it to the board. This would be more than 4 questions or statements, but Edith Blitzer.
By now you know who I am and you know my mouth. We've invited her to 3 of our meetings. 3 times we emailed the office and somebody claims they never received it. Please, I've heard of fairy tales. This is one I don't want to hear. First of all, she should be making herself available to the people in the community that put her into office.
Pelham Parkway Neighborhood Association, correct?
Well, you know it, but she doesn't.
I'm sorry. The reason why I mentioned that is because she'll be there in October 8th. We've got the date.
Well, you never notifies us she's going to be there October 8th, and we have DOT coming, the commissioner of DOT.
We've still got some time until October 8th.
Well, not according to us, because we have to do flyers.
No, I understand. It's going to be just a meeting for y'all.
All right. All right, let's move on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel. Senator Gustavo Rivera's office, Caitlin Best.
Hello, everybody. So my name is Caitlin Best. I am new to you guys, and I know a lot of you are new as well, so welcome. So on behalf of Senator Rivera, I hope you guys all had a good summer. For some legislative updates, we are very proud to announce that we passed 32 bills through both our houses, the Senate and the Assembly. As of early September, the governor has signed 7 of them. For some upcoming events, we have a Hepatitis C educational forum that's going to be co-hosted with Community Boards 5 and 7 and the Bronx Care Health System. That's going to be Tuesday, October 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. at North Central Bronx Hospital. I know last night at Morris Park Association, I did not have flyers. Tonight I have flyers for anybody that wants them. For SUNY Bronx, we have a SUNY Bronx EOC College Fair that's going to be co-sponsored by us, Councilmember Gibson, Assemblymember Blake, Senator Sepulveda, and the Bronx Borough President. That's going to be Wednesday, October 16th from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. I also have flyers for those if anybody needs them. For a save the date, we have the Health and Housing Halloween Fair. That's Saturday, October 19th at the Bronx Works Morris Innovative Senior Center. I don't have flyers for those, unfortunately. Then we also have a Bronx EOC Community Engagement event, which is going to be featuring Senator Rivera. That'll be Tuesday, October 22nd at 2 p.m., and that'll be at SUNY Bronx EOC. I don't have flyers for those either, unfortunately. I'm done, so that's good.
All right.
Any questions?
Tony Vitaliano has a question.
The senator, I believe he's the chair of the health committee up there, correct? You heard what happened about 2500 Williamsbridge Road, how we feel. Will you personally communicate it to him? Maybe, he might be in a position to help us as the chair.
So it's not in our district, which doesn't mean I'm not going to help. I just didn't know about it until tonight, so I'm going to bring it to his attention, and I'm going to talk to staff.
Just tell the senator Tony's asking.
Oh, that'll go a long way, Tom.
Great. We have Renell from Senator Jamal Bailey's office.
Hi, how are you doing? So we've been doing a lot over the summer. We had our legislative update along with other senators, with Senator Biaggi, Senator Rivera, Senator Sepulveda, and Senator Serrano. That was at Monroe College. I'm not sure if anyone attended here. Okay. We also had our Norwood Senior Walk. That's in the around Tracy Towers, Williamsbridge Oval Park. We also had our Labor Union and Caribbean Culture Celebration. That was from Nereid Avenue all the way down White Plains Road to Gun Hill Road. We are also having another senior walk that's in Co-op City, October 11th. If you'd like to attend, or if you know anyone that would like to attend, share the flyer that's on the table. Also, we are collecting donations for victims of the Bahamas. We're collecting donations until October 11th. And I'd also like to inform you that Senator Bailey is on his way to this meeting tonight.
Thank you, Renell. Very good to hear, because I didn't want to discriminate and just, want Biaggi here. We also want Senator Bailey here. We've had Gustavo Rivera in the past. So we'll turn it over to Forhad from Assemblymember Fernandez's office.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Forhad, I'm the Communications Director for Assemblywoman Natalia Fernandez here. I know that there's a couple of familiar faces, but for those who don't know me, hello. I'm not going to be here very often, usually it's Otis, but you get to see my face now. So 2 quick events. On October 1st, we have a job fair with Senator Biaggi as well as Councilman Jonai. That's going to be October 1st, 10 to 1 at the Christopher Columbus High School cafeteria. October 2nd, we have a homeowners resource fair, and that's going to be at Maestro's, which is 1703 Bronxdale Avenue. That's from October 2nd, 6:30 to 8 p.m., and that's also with Councilman Jonai. So you can get to learn a whole bunch of other stuff at that. Some legislation news. We have introduced a bill with Senator Hoylman giving mental health days off for students. As you guys know, mental health is on a huge rise right now, so we're trying to do what we can to, give students time to get themselves checked out. We're also doing mental health days off for public officers such as NYPD, FDNY. This comes at the heel of the 9th police officer this year to commit suicide. I think this one was in Queens or Long Island. And we have to acknowledge that not everybody is invulnerable, including our men in uniform. So that's a little something we're doing on that end. And then we're also allocating $75,000 to certain high schools in the district, 4 of which are in the Columbus High School campus, and the other one is Bronx Visual Arts. So they're going to do with that what they will, but giving a little bit back from the state to these schools. And then finally, 30 seconds left. I heard you. Finally, I know what the big question on everybody's mind is 2500 Williamsbridge Road. Obviously, the Assemblywoman has voiced before. We are vehemently against it. I actually have a statement. I know I emailed it over to Chris earlier today. So he does have, and hopefully you guys can get that statement. But again, we are very much against it. We're going to do what we can, what's in our power to make sure it doesn't happen. I'm sure you guys have questions. I'm sure you guys have concerns, and I am happy to answer them.
Yeah, we'll forward that out. Chris did receive that. Thank you. No, nobody has questions. Thank you. From Assemblymember Benedetto's office, we have, I believe it says Matthew McKay. Can't exactly read the.
So I want to introduce myself. This is my first time at this meeting. I'm newly on the staff 4 or 5 months to Assemblymember Benedetto. Like you said, my name is Matt McKay. I deal with constituent services, and I'm also a legislative aide. I have cards on me. I'll be over there in that corner if you guys want to come get a card, if you need anything from the assembly member. I think the only announcement we have is since you guys have the same problem we have over in Jogs Neck, 2,500 is yours, 2,800 is ours. With the drug rehabilitation centers, methadone clinics, whatever they're calling them. We introduced a bill up in the assembly with the help from our community board 10, and it's to now open a methadone or drug facility 500 feet to and from a school, church, and or park. So now where people and residents live and act. No 30 seconds, I'm done. Thank you.
Great. We do have 2 more elected official speakers, but before that, I was informed by Chris that there was a sign-in issue with the gallery session speaker. So unless anybody is really opposed, we have 1 more gallery session speaker. So this gentleman, Mr. Blenser, I believe, you mind introducing you? Okay.
Belzer, like seltzer with a B. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you, board members. Good evening, everybody, brothers and sisters. My name is Michael Belzer, and I'm here today for ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting will be on our ballot as question number 1 this November 5th. So a show of hands, how many people here have voted in an election before? All right, so everyone here is a good voter. You've been voting under a winner-take-all system, which means that the winner only needs to get 1 more vote than the next person. They don't necessarily need a majority of the support. So we see a lot of elected officials come in with 30-40% of the vote. A ranked choice voting system seeks to eliminate that by making sure that the winner gets a majority of the support. So it would change voting a little bit differently. For municipal elections starting in 2021, you can rank up to 5 choices from 1 to 5 who you actually like. You can still just vote for 1, but you now have 5 choices, and what happens is after the votes are tallied, if the first place person doesn't get over 50% of the vote, it goes to a second round of voting where the last place person is eliminated, and those voters' second choice gets the support. So you could think of an example like Chick-fil-A versus Popeyes. That was very popular. If you ranked choice voted them with McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's, you could see how Chick-fil-A might end up on top because it's very popular with some people, but a lot of people don't know about Chick-fil-A, and there's a lot of people who would never vote for Chick-fil-A. So if in a system like that, if Wendy's was eliminated, a lot of those voters would go to Popeyes, and Popeyes would come out on top, which is probably a majority of the support. This is on the ballot November 5th. We do have early voting starting October 26th. So if you are for ranked choice voting, you can vote yes on number 1 and November 5th. There are 5 ballot questions, but on number 1, you're going to vote yes.
Great. Thank you very much. And then going back to elected officials, we have Christine from the District Attorney's Office.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to say thank you to Pelham Parkway Community Association for inviting the district attorney to their September meeting. And a thank you to the Morris Park Neighborhood Association for extending an invitation to us also. So I have 2 announcements. Next Saturday, October 5th, we have our 5K run, walk, and roll. I have flyers with me. We'll be meeting on 161st Street on the Grand Concourse. If you'd like to participate, it is free to sign up. It is open to everyone. If you like, you can scan the QR code on our flyer and it'll bring up the Google Form application. Also, on October 26th, which is also a Saturday, we have, this is kind of tall. I feel a little over here. On October 26th, we have our Another Chance event, which is our warrant amnesty event. We will be resolving summons warrants. So when someone gets a small petty quality of life warrant summons that may turn into a warrant, they can come to this event to resolve that warrant free of charge. Legal aid will be on site also to assist anyone with any legal questions. We'll also be informing the public about the new marijuana laws as well as the New York State sealing statute. Thank you.
All right. So we have with us distinguished Senator Jamal Bailey. I don't know if you want to come up and say hi.
That's all you want me to say, Mr. Jeremy? That's all? Well, hello, everybody. I'm State Senator Jamal Bailey. Welcome back to Community Board. Welcome back to Renewed Activism. It's great to see many of you that I've been seeing throughout the summer in many places, but now back to school, we're back to CBs, we're back to work. And that goes for us in Albany, even though we're not in session. Just wanted to give you an update on some community events that are happening, and just let you know about some legislative ideas and things that we're going to be doing up in Albany in the next session. So the first thing is, first and foremost, we're still collecting donations for the victims of Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas at my district office at 959 East 233rd Street. Myself and Assemblywoman Fernandez, we sent our first shipment out today, and we're still collecting until October 11th. And if you have any non-perishable goods, water, canned goods, diapers for the kids out there, anything that you can bring by, we would be greatly appreciative of that. The second thing, speaking of October 11th, I have my annual senior walk. I have a saying about health. You've heard the phrase of health is wealth, right? Well, if health is wealth, you don't want to go bankrupt. You want to make sure that the deposits are more in the positive than the negative. And so we have to make sure we're getting our seniors active and ongoing. We did one in the last 2 years in Co-op City. We've expanded them. We had one in Williams Ridge Oval earlier this year. It was a big success. So on October 11th, we're having our second one of the year at the Co-op City Greenway. You don't have to be from my district to attend. You just have to be willing to walk, get up, be energized. You don't even have to be a senior to attend. We just want you to get up, get out, and start walking around and start making use of what God has given you, not to make separation between church and state. And that leads me to the final point. We have a shredded event. It's in CB7, it's at DeWitt Clayton High School, but again, if you have sensitive documents and sensitive information, it is on September 28th, I think beginning at 11 a.m. There's going to be a shredded truck at DeWitt Clayton High School. Again, if you have sensitive documents that you need shredded, by all means, please bring them out. Just a couple of things. I heard the mention was marijuana, about the decriminalization and the expungement of records that is happening. It will take over a year for those records to be expunged, but they will happen automatically. If you have questions about the mechanism of that, you can contact my office directly as well. We've been holding hearings on the criminal justice issues, discovery reform, bail reform, speedy trial reform. We're holding hearings on those, about the implementation of those, so we can hear the voices of the impacted individuals as well as the district attorneys and the NYPD. We want to hear everybody's voice. And the last thing is that I would just say, even though session starts in January, ideas start rolling now, and they should always be rolling. If you have any ideas, any concerns, anything that you're thinking about from a policy perspective, I encourage you to please contact my office to discuss them. I've had contact with Jeremy, where I've been able to update him about some of the legislation that I've been able to pass. Over in Albany, I got 34 bills passed in Albany this past session. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool to be in the majority, to be able to get work done in Albany on your behalf. And I'm looking forward to doing even more great things up in Albany in this next session. So with that said, I want to say thank you. And I don't know if I can take questions. I don't know what the time frame is. So does anybody have anything they want to ask me? I speak really fast because I'm from the Bronx like you.
Anyone? Going once? Nope. Going twice? Okay. Thank you very much. We have Marielle from Comptroller Stringer's office.
I am here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, Anthony. Okay, that's what I thought. My name is Marielle de la Cruz. I am the Bronx Borough Director for New York City Comptroller Scott Stringer. I first of all want to say thank you all. We went to a few events in the area over the summer, and you guys had great things to say about me, so thank you, all of you that I saw. Secondly, I just wanted to kind of go over a few things that we've done. I know that we are short on time, so I will probably not take all of my time. But quickly, we did a report in June regarding teacher retention. So that's one thing that if folks have questions about, I can give you the information about. We also released today information about business vacancies. It came out today, so I did not have a chance to review, but next month I'll come talk about it in detail. And if folks want me to email them the information, just for information's sake, I will be here to the end of the meeting, so please let me know. Thirdly, we also released a report on childcare. So as we know, working parents have to shut out about $21,000 a year for childcare. That's more than 3 years in CUNY. So we released a plan called NYC Under 3. NYC Under 3 would triple the number of infants and toddlers in child-based care, allowing about 20,000 New Yorkers to join or rejoin the workforce. For families at the poverty line or making less than $26,000 a year, NYC Under 3 will bring their bill to zero. And the plan would guarantee assistance on a sliding scale for families that are making up to $100,000 per year. So again, those are two of the reports that we have. We also did one on fees and fines in the criminal justice system. So folks get incarcerated, they have to pay a whole bunch of fees after the fact, which means that they might be incarcerated again for fees that they cannot pay. And we want to make sure that the justice system is as equitable as possible. So thank you very much, everyone, for giving me the opportunity to speak. It took me 2 hours to get here, a train and a bus. So I appreciate all your patience and all your support, and have a beautiful night. Thank you.
We also have here this evening Councilman Jonai. He's got a 10, 15-minute presentation. Is that about right, Mark?
No, not tonight.
Oh, no, that's good. Okay.
I can talk about 10 or 15 minutes, but I want to make it public. I hate speaking after that state senator. He's good-looking, articulate, intelligent. Let's give the state senator another round of applause. I came to talk about a few things, but first and foremost, I want to talk to you about participatory budgeting. There are going to be 3 seminars where that's where we'll do the presentations, where you will decide how to spend $1 million. It'll be in grants of no less than $50,000. So I get the honor of spending your tax dollars the way you want to. And I don't want you to miss this opportunity to be heard on issues that are important to you, from libraries to playgrounds to community centers to public housing. It's your projects, and you should attend. There are 3 presentations. One will be October 3rd at 7:30 p.m. at the 4th Precinct Community Council meeting. One will be on October 4th at the Bronx House at 7 p.m. And the 3rd will be on October 8th at Villa Barone Manor at 7 p.m. You'll get surveys, you'll get an opportunity not only to be heard, but to join and be a part of this incredible process where collectively we figure out what's best for our neighborhoods. Talk to you about a project that Senator's still here. The State Senator was instrumental, along with Carl Hastie, the Speaker of the Assembly, our colleague. We all heard and have experienced the terrible problems with trees that are destroying our sidewalks. It's been going on forever. The liability that it brings on to our homeowners and the concerns across the board. Well, finally, because of the help of Carl Hastie and our state senator, they were able to force Mayor de Blasio to allocate the funding that's needed to address all of these problems, which are going to make our homeowners, first of all, feel safer, but make sure that our sidewalks are safe for everyone. State Senator Jamal Bailey. Let's give him another round of applause. 2500 Williamsbridge Road. It's a state issue, but I think you all know that I don't stay away from state or federal issues when it's important to this community, and I'm involved and I stand shoulder to shoulder with you. We talk about these treatment centers. We know they're needed. More children die from drug overdoses than car accidents, gun violence, and suicides combined. We're not opposed to treatment centers. We're just opposed to them being placed in areas that are next door to a house of worship, a school, or a residential neighborhood. And these providers should be coming to communities to ask us where they would be best suited. So this fight isn't over. And the only way I know to stop this, because we've done it once before, is when we go after the amount of money that is being spent on the acquisition and the amount of money that is going to be spent on rehabbing and renovating the facility. Then we make an articulate argument that says, if you're gonna spend $1.5 million or $2 million for this center, that's not spending taxpayer dollars wisely. And we can find a better place for you. That's the only way that I know you can challenge a treatment center from opening up. Or the governor can just wish it. Or ACES can just refuse to issue a permit. I won't hold my breath on those other two options. I'm going to bank on appraisal of the property. I'm going to bank on the renovations that are needed. They have to make that public, and then we can determine if that's the best use of taxpayer dollars. Anyone have any questions on that one?
Mark, thank you. So how about this articulated argument? So how about the articulated argument for no, absolutely not? Because we have a program at Bronx ATC, Jacoby Medical Center HHCOP, Jacoby Medical Center MMD, Montefiore Medical Center MSWOP, Next Step North OP, Next Step North OP1, Wellness Center at Waters Place. Oh, you get my point?
I'm with you.
How about no? That's the articulated argument.
Joe, if they were to accept it, we wouldn't be here today. This provider is going to make an application to be funded for the acquisition and the remodeling of that facility. Their numbers are Bronx-wide, because this isn't for a community. They're going to say, we have a number of people that are addicted to substance abuse and drugs and alcohol, and we need this center. They have their side of the argument. Our side of the argument is going to be not near a school or a residential neighborhood. And that's the only way I know you can kill this deal. There's a bill that was introduced by Michael Benedetto. I don't ever expect it to become law, where it prevents a facility from being built near a house of worship, a school, or a residential community. It's just not the climate. I want to repeat this again. This is a state issue. I go to war with you. It's the wrong place for it. We don't need it in that particular area. So the provider should have come to this community in advance, and when it was brought to my attention by Jeremy, when I just happened to walk into his office, I started making phone calls right away, the night of a meeting that we were having. We stand united on this. Just can't come across and say no. There has to be an articulate argument. We know the impacts of these treatment centers that they have in the surrounding neighborhoods. We know what that is going to do for the residential homeowners. We know what those children that come out of that grammar school are going to be exposed to on a daily basis as they go to school and leave school. And if they don't know, if you're not aware, let's take a right to Waters Place and I'll show you what goes on over there. It's not the best of environments for children or for residential homes. There's a purpose and a place for everything. 2500 Williamsbridge Road should not be that location. Anybody have any other questions?
Mark, the finances that you were talking about, the $1 million, is that capital money or is that?
Capital money only.
Okay, thank you.
On that, no more 2500? You guys are okay? Wow, good for me. All right, so what else do you got? Did you make the announcement about the Columbus Day Parade?
I'll leave that up to you. You did all the work on this.
But this is one of those things that should have never have happened, and sometimes things happen, we just have to fix it. So, you don't know what I fixed yet. For those of you that don't know, the Columbus Day Parade used to start on White Plains Road and continue all the way up to Williamsbridge Road to Pelham Parkway. Then we had a recession. Bloomberg scaled back every parade by 25%. Williamsbridge Road, which historically enjoyed participating in the Columbus Day Parade, was cut out. This is for a number of years. It is what it is.
10 years.
10 years. When the applicants, and I have to give credit to Chris, who's not here, and what's the other gentleman's name? Who does Carmine. Chris and Carmine. CNC. I remember CNC Coca-Cola. They worked so hard on this year in and year out, making sure the Columbus Day Parade is run properly. When they applied, for the park permit to use the Wingo wagon, the stage, Parks Department took a new position. No more stages on public streets. They want it on parkland only. And they were given an option of parks, either Loretta Park or Pelham Parkway. Now, Loretta Park would have shortened the parade route rather than expanded. When they heard Pelham Parkway, they said, "Hell, Pelham Parkway, sure." So after the application went in, did they find out that if you add 10 blocks this way, you gotta take off 10 blocks the other way. And it became an unfortunate debate, which through passion and love of a community, there were personal attacks and all sorts. That's not who we are. They went back, we had a meeting at my request to bring in the stakeholders to discuss the parade route, understanding what was being discussed and at stake. It was then presented, if we're gonna cut this portion of Morris Park out, which impacted solely Van Ness, then the compromise would be Wallace Avenue. And it was unanimous. We'll start on Wallace, not on White Plains Road, so you're gonna lose 4 blocks. You're gonna make it up on Williamsbridge Road. We have the park trailer, wonderful. These gentlemen went back, applied, and was told no. You can't expand a parade. Since that day, I can't tell you how many phone calls I've made and how bad I felt for Chris and Carmine that were taking the brunt of attacks. That you did this and slang. I mean, the worst of the worst attacks that you can possibly do to somebody. And I remind everyone, these are volunteers. They don't get paid for this. They work really hard to give something back to this community that they've enjoyed for so many years. No one deserves that type of an attack or threats, which is even worse. And I'll explain to you why I'm getting angry now. Because those threats that I'm gonna have goons, I believe was the exact word, come down to disrupt the parade. I'm going to report a bomb threat to disrupt the parade. Foul language that isn't fitting of anyone. It's not who we are. You can be passionate, you can be vocal, you can argue. But the moment somebody threatens another person, physically threatened, and attacks that individual, they cross a line. Those people know who they are. And they didn't allow others to do the work. They prejudged and assumed that a decision was made, that it was done with intent, and it was done specifically to them. All of you here tonight are volunteers, a voice for your neighborhoods and our community to make sure that we live in a better, safer, cleaner neighborhood. No one should be attacked for what they believe in, what they do or don't do. You can disagree. I've got 2 boys at home. I never agree with them. They never agree with me. But we make things happen. There's just got to be a little bit more tolerance here and willingness to work and wait. Leave the last word for the last word. And I'm sorry that I've taken up so much of your time on this issue, but I think this is an example of other issues that our community is faced with. Just like there may be somebody in this room that feels that treatment center should go at 2500 Williamsbridge Road. That person should be attacked. They should be heard. And there's a process here. Everybody gets heard. You absorb and reflect. and then you make a decision as a body. But don't attack anyone for something that they believe. No matter how much you think it will be destroy our neighborhood, or it will impact us in a very negative way. So if anyone has any questions on that, I'm happy to. I'm sorry? Oh, starts at Wallace Avenue and will end on Leidick for the first time in over 10 years. Both sides get to enjoy it, and we get to have a Columbus Day parade that we haven't seen in over 10 years. What's the date again now? October 12th. From what time to what time? 13, 12. 12 o'clock sharp. We will see you at breakfast that I'm paying for at St. Benedict's, St. Dominic's. Okay. Man, I pay, brother. That's all. So I'll see you guys at the breakfast. I'll see you on the parade route, and I'll be handing out free Zeppelis.
All right, we'll send out the correct information, okay? Following today. We'll send out the correct information via email or phone call, whatever you want. Okay. Lisa Soto, you had a question?
No, I was just confused as to the stage, because you said the stage had to be in the park, but now it's going to end in Leidick. So where's the stage?
Lord works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? Leave it alone. The stage will be there. It'll be on Leidick Avenue. Parade will start on Wallace. It took a lot to get this done. There were many people that were involved. I have to give credit where it's due. Law enforcement understood the importance and the gravity of this and the impact it would have. But more importantly, I go back to the negative attacks. Just imagine someone threatening a person's life to threaten with a bomb threat.
Where did all the guys come from?
Yeah. Well, if you don't know, you'll know about them sooner or later. They always appear, and they're willing to say the last word as their first word. And it's not fitting of who we are. It's not fitting of this community. Do you know, I travel the city. What I see in these two community boards, 10 and 11, you can't find anywhere else. The passion and the love of the neighborhoods are admirable. You guys are that standard. You truly care. And it's not about divisions, and it's not about take from one person to give to another. Most of you are on this community board for a reason. And if you're not here for that reason, to make our lives better, to leave this neighborhood better than we found it, then maybe you shouldn't be on this board. We're all going to eventually leave this world. I would hope that everybody on this board has one intention, and that's leaving the world better than we found it. And it starts with our homes and our communities, and that's Morris Park. Thank you.
So Sunday, October 13th. It's always the Sunday before the official federal Monday holiday. There's the parade, Columbus Day Parade in Morris Park. Okay, any other questions for the council member?
Yes, the $1 million goes to the 13th council district. So I just stopped by Community Board 10. I announced that as well. These are all projects that can range from $50,000 to $300 and change. It's going to require community input. So please, figure out how we can use this money wisely. I'm happy to split the money in equally between the two community boards. But be mindful. You know, you think $1 million is a lot of money, and then when you look at these projects, you're going to realize that it doesn't get you very much. So come up with projects that are no less than $50,000, capital only, that could make a big difference throughout the community.
Yahe Obid?
I just want to thank the councilman. I was a previous auxiliary police officer at the 49th Precinct. One of the challenges was getting auxiliaries from the precinct to locations because they can't ride more than 2 per vehicle. So it was extremely challenging to go back and forth. So the councilman was able to get us an auxiliary van specifically for the 49th precinct. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. I got one for the 4-9 and I got one for the 4-5 so we don't have problems. And we want to make sure all the kids get to eat.
Great. Okay. That's it.
Caitlin will give announcements on all the other stuff that we're having. I don't even know what they are anymore, but I have an office that is dedicated to making sure that we give everything that we can and every opportunity and privilege and event that you benefit from. Caitlin, can you make those announcements? Including one of my favorite. How many of you have pets here? You know how expensive it is for vaccines? Well, guess what? I have a free vaccine for your pets coming up, and Caitlin will give you that date, and we fought really hard for that one. God bless you.
Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin from his office.
Microphone, please.
Okay, now you hear me? Yeah. Hi, I'm Caitlin from Mark's office. I'm going to make it very brief since he was very long. On this Saturday, we're having free animal vaccines at Ferry Point Park from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. First come, first serve. As long as you're on the line by 1, your animal will get treated. And then our job fair with Nat's office, this is October 1st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Columbus High School. And then we also have a homeowner and landlord resource fair. This is with NIBC and Assemblywoman Natalia's office, and this is October 2nd at Maestro from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And then we're also having a mammogram bus on October 10th in front of our office. I believe it's all day. Yeah, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you have any questions for me.
Thank you very much. So that concludes the elected officials portion. We now turn over to the chairman for the chairman's report. Al D'Angelo.
Good evening, welcome back. Just a few things. The community board will be giving out free American flags with the poles and a 3x5 flag. So if you want to display a flag outside of your home, you can come pick up the pole and the flag at no charge. So we have as many as we have, on a first come, first served basis. Once they're gone, we'll say, hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Go home. So get there early if you want a flag. Yes. You have to, yeah, absolutely. You have to sign for them so we can show the city that we gave out X amount of flags to our constituents. The other thing, we made we try to shorten the meeting. So we at the leadership committee, we asked that the chair people of each committee, instead of reading the minutes and giving you a verbal report, the information will be in the minutes. So when it's their turn, they will say the minutes are presented. If you have any questions, and then the board members can ask whatever questions of the minutes that they wish. This way, hopefully, it'll cut it down a little bit. And we've extended 4 questions from the board instead of 2. This way, we can get more information, and hopefully, we'll try to keep the meetings under 2 hours. This way, people can go home and eat. Most people come right from work, so it makes it difficult. We'll try. We'll try to do that. I need a motion to approve the June 2019 full board minutes. Seconded. All in favor? All opposed? Extensions? Carried. Thank you. That's me.
Thank you, Al. We'll move now to the treasurer's report. Veronica Castro.
You'll notice that the treasurer's report is not in your folders. I have a preliminary report right now. There are questions that I have on some of the information. It's not the information itself, but my better understanding of the information so I can provide it to you guys in a more appropriate way. I don't want to give information out that I myself don't understand. I am trying a new format also, so when you do see it, if you have any suggestions or comments on the format, something that will maybe come back to me and let me know how I can change it to make it a little bit more easier for you to read or to understand. This will be available at the board office when it is completed. It will also be in your packages along with October's report at the next board meeting, okay? Thank you.
I was remiss. I just want to thank Tony Vitaliano for representing me at the Health Committee meeting a couple of weeks ago. I was on vacation. So, and Tony did a credible job and let me know basically what was going on. Thank you.
So we'll now turn it over to my report. I guess I could start off by thanking Chris for representing me at that meeting. And then we'll go down the list, 8A through I. So Lodovick Avenue, 225 Lodovick Avenue. I reached out to the State Office of People with Developmental Disabilities regarding this temporary boiler. So I have a written report prepared for you. The OPWDD thinks that the group home is doing all that they can. This temporary boiler on Lodovick has been there for God knows how long, maybe 3 years now. The Bronx Times, I was informed, is supposedly doing a story on this, and it'll probably hit the newsstands tomorrow, I was told. In terms of our interns, so we currently have, I believe, 5 interns at the office. So two of them it's against their religion to shake a man's hand in public. So be mindful of that if you come visit the office. We've already had somebody surprised by that, and 10 new board members. I will go through and introduce. Some of you have already kind of introduced yourselves, but if you don't mind, I will go through and just say your name. I know some of the name stands I've just noticed are incorrect. We will correct those at the end of the meeting. If your name is incorrect, please just rip it up and we'll get you a new one next month. Mr. Joseph Schensler, we have here, Natalie Medina, Paula Creary, Valerie Babb, and Hazel, even though most people know Hazel, she just got reappointed. Adi Shkreli and Christian Amato, and I believe that's all the new members that... Oh, I'm sorry, Darrell, yes. Sorry, could not... and if you want to know a little bit more about some of them, they did provide their bios. Some of them, I did put that in the minutes that I received over the summer, as well as some of the interns. We have bios up on our website. And then borough budget consultations, 3 days this month, basically 3 full days. Andrea Siegel and I went to Bronx Community Board 12, and we had meetings with various agencies. The Department of Homeless Services, for example. I said to them, in front of my colleagues, I was like, well, can you tell me if any of my colleagues or any other community board has been helpful in citing a homeless shelter for you? And the short answer was no, they could not. Out of the 59 community boards throughout the entire city, they could not. I thought that was interesting. NYCHA, there's a pilot project in Manhattan. There's an issue with getting the police department remote access to NYCHA cameras. The plan is that all the police departments will have access to all NYCHA property cameras where they exist. The Department of Health. So you know, there was something in Brooklyn that happened with the borough president there that caused a little bit of news sensation. I know somebody on social media asked, well, why can't we just sterilize rats? Supposedly the health department has tried this at NYCHA properties, and it failed. It worked initially, and then it failed. That's one thing that came out of borough consultations. Also, borough consultations at the FDNY reminded us that they will be doing their open houses. All the firehouses will be open to the public starting Saturday, October 5th. We have 3 firehouses in our district, and I listed all 3 in my written report, which day and time they will be open to visitors. And October 31st is the deadline for a couple of issues. So we have to submit our annual budget priorities. In October, we will be having a public hearing to hear from the public. Any requests, you do not have to wait for the public hearing to make a request for the city budget. And if you have questions about what that means, you're not unfamiliar with this, especially if you're new, please ask me after the meeting, because obviously the meeting is going to be a long one tonight. The Youth Leadership Award is the deadline for that's set by the Education, Culture, and Youth Services Committee is also October 31st. We have not received any nominations yet thus far. I'm a little surprised by this. I did send out, I think everybody did get the notice that went out, I think last month or earlier this month, October 31st, Youth Leadership Award. If you're not familiar with that, please see me or the staff after the meeting. As already mentioned about Senator Biaggi coming to our October meeting. The Borough Board and Borough Cabinet meeting I attended this morning down at Borough Hall. In addition to ranked choice voting, which was already spoken by one of our gallery session speakers, that's one ballot proposal. That's the first ballot proposal. There are 5 ballot proposals this November, which you can vote on. The 5th one, as it relates to community boards, is on page 7 of my report. This is regarding ULIP applications, giving community boards more time in the summer to review ULIP applications, as well as notifying us 30 days in advance before certifying an application, which I think is a nice change. If it happens, you have to vote on it. Yes, yay or nay. That's ballot question number 5, November, for those of you who vote. And then 2 more things. If you didn't notice, the Borough President's Office released a community board members and demographics report in August. And there's some, on page 9 through 11, I put the relevant information for our community board, because the report is about all 12. Obviously, there are name misspellings. I have apprised the Borough President's Office of incorrect spelling of some names. And for what's not available, so the information is somewhat old, outdated maybe. I'm looking at a way maybe we can have this more current on our website. So last but not least, in your package should be the Conflicts of Interest Board proposed rules. There's a public hearing tomorrow by the Conflict of Interest Board, and they're proposing rules regarding community board service. It's largely, yeah, I'll leave it at that. It's in the packet. If you have any questions, please see me after the meeting. Last but not least, I think we as a board should thank Calvary Hospital for hosting us tonight. They did not plan on having cookies and coffee because it's not in their budget. So next time we're here, which will probably be April, don't be surprised if there are no cookies and coffee. But maybe we could send them a nice thank you, and maybe they will do it in the future. I have no guarantee on that. That concludes my report. We will go to committee reports. Leadership Committee.
Good evening. Welcome back for the till what, June? Next 10 meetings. My name's Tony Vitaliano. I'm the first chair to the new people. If I ever could help you in any way, please contact me, talk to me, come up. I'm a friendly guy. Don't be afraid of me. I don't yell no more. All right, listen, we had a leadership meeting, and this motion, it's going to affect our board seriously. 2500 Williams Ridge Road. Let me tell you something. Beside the politicians and the people and everything else, we better pray to God that we win this one. Because if you don't believe me, go to Waters Place, and you see what they got there. And it's going to affect the public school, the St. Catherine's, and the playground right across the street. A playground for kids, you know. So we got to work on this town hall, everything. We got to do everything. We got to get the people out on this one. Thank you. Now, we made a motion. Motion to send our elected officials a letter of objection regarding the proposed drug treatment facility at 2500 Williamsbridge Road. Do I get a second? Al D'Angelo seconds. Open for discussion. All those in favor? Against? Abstentions? You not. One abstention. Edith Shurikil. Edit. I'm sorry. Edith. I put an H on it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll learn the next time. Okay. Motion approved.
Abstain. And also, I just want to apologize, something we missed at the Leadership Committee meeting, even though some people reminded us, was the Health and Social Services Committee. Sandy and Joe will figure out another date because the Yom Kippur comes the night before. So it's not prudent to have a meeting that day. So we'll move on to Bylaws Committee, David Levitt.
Good evening. Coming in your direction now with the bylaws minutes from June. In June, I presented 3 proposed changes that came out of the bylaws committee. And as required by our current bylaws, these stay open for one meeting, and we're going to vote on them tonight. I'll just wait a moment until everybody gets it, and I'll just talk briefly about each one, and I can answer any questions. The first has to do with accepting the nomination as a board officer. Currently, our rules require that you must be at a meeting and accept the nomination in person. The change is to be able to accept the nomination in writing within 10 working days. The second has to do with merit salary increases for the district manager must be approved by the full board. This is a change from our current rules, and you could see the exact wording when you get the bylaws minutes. The third change has to do with establishing a process for considering merit increases for the classified staff. That's everyone not the district manager who is considered a managerial employee. And generally that procedure would be that between January 1st and March 31st of each year, the board chair and the board treasurer would meet to determine if there is sufficient funds for merit increases, and then the Employee Relations Committee would be advised of the amount that is available for merit increases, and performance standards would be reviewed in consideration for any merit increases, which would then have to be voted on by the full board. The bylaws minutes stuck down there somewhere? Does somebody have a packet of them and can keep passing it down? You shouldn't have run out. I made 50 copies. Does anybody have any questions?
So number 3, if I'm understanding it correctly, the Employee Relations Committee will be the only ones to determine staff merit increases. Will it not include the executive director, or not executive director, what's your title? District manager, sorry. District manager at all?
Let me just clarify. For
Okay.
the classified staff, the Employee Relations Committee would recommend any increases, which would then have to be approved by the full board. For the district manager, those recommendations come out of the executive board, which are the elected officers, and then come directly to the full board.
Right.
The only increase in salary for the district manager that can be approved without the full board is the one that's coming up, I think, in October, where the mayor approves a managerial increase for all managers in the city, allocates additional funds, and the board chair, as the agency head, has the authority to grant or not grant that increase. Did I answer your question?
No, but
Sorry.
that is helpful, but no. My question is, does the district manager have any say in the staff merit increases? Correct.
Yes, because the objective performance standards, which would be the written evaluations, would be completed by the district manager.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you, that was my question.
Any other questions? There's no other questions, then I'll call for one vote on all 3 changes. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? There's one opposed. Any other opposed? Andrea Siegel opposes. And any abstentions?
Only opposing the first one. The other 2 I'm agreeing to.
Okay.
I don't feel that if you can't be at a meeting, you shouldn't be nominated, and writing is not sufficient, in my opinion.
Any abstentions? So the changes pass, and the bylaws will be updated, and I'll send it to Jeremy to post to the board website. The bylaws committee will be meeting on October 15th. We've been asked to consider a change, as what I understand is a friendly change, to combine the Education and Culture Committee and the Youth Committee. And Al, if I understand this correctly, both committees agree to that, and you feel that is something that would be helpful. I think if we go back far enough, I think those committees used to be one committee.
No, they were two committees, the meeting is one committee.
I was talking, if we went back about 10 or 20 years.
Yeah, they've always been officially separate.
Okay. So that meeting appears on our calendar, and anybody is welcome to attend. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Okay. We will move on to Joseph Thompson, Economic Development Committee.
Well, I hope everybody had a great summer. I had a great summer. We've adopted going out to visit most of these places that are up for renewal, most of our liquor places. And as it stands now, we're pretty happy with what we've seen and what we've talked about. And there's a motion of no objection, and we feel very, very comfortable about these places. The Bronx Italian American Cultural with Gidio Semitelli, and he has an organization, and it's a social neighborhood organization, and it's pretty good. So it's been there, and it's been there for a number of years, and it's never been a problem. Also, at our meetings, the police department is there also, so they have an input on all the places we do talk about. We also have no objection to these places. Number one, Mr. Q's, 2115 Williamsbridge Road. Incidentally, these places that I mentioned, with no objections or objection, if you know these places personally and you know something about these places, I wish you would speak up. Okay, so Mr. Q, and we have no objection to that. We have no objection to El Nueve Sazon Restaurant Corporation, 2233 Boston Road. It's a nice little place. They only have one entrance, but that's all they need, one means of egress. But it's a well-kept place. The owner's there. It's got 6 tables. So we had no objection to that. We went to this one. We do have an objection to.
Joe, I have a question from Joe Menta here.
Oh, Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I thought I read in the, I guess I don't know if it was the leadership committee, but recently that it was decided in order to make the meetings run a little bit faster and smoother that all of our committees were going to submit our minutes, and then that's it. And if anybody had any questions, we weren't going to read through our committee reports. So isn't that something that we can do?
Okay, but these have to be voted on, Joe.
So, all right, I'm just asking the question.
No, I'm just answering the question. Okay. It's a fair question, but they have to be voted on.
Okay.
So what we do is we clump them all together, all the ones with no objection, which I just read. So I would call for a vote on these, and the motion would be we have no objection to these locations, 3 locations. I need a second for that. Okay.
Actually, I have 4 no objections.
Oh, the pizzeria I have a problem with.
Well, he's going to start with the first 3. He's going to start with the first 3.
Okay, so the first 3, no objection. Now, I have a little bit of a problem with what used to be captains. I do have a problem with them.
Okay.
So I'll speak about that after this. So the first 3, that's the motion. And it's second, and I'll take a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed? Any discussion?
Abstentions?
Abstentions?
Yahe Obid?
Okay. One. Okay, now I'll talk about 1056 Morris Park Avenue, which is the new restaurant. Oh, not that one. No, wait, one. No, that one we have objection to. So we have an objection to this one, basically because, first of all, the chairman, the previous chairman went there, did not get an answer. They would not show up. They would not respond to any of our communication. So in view of that we do have an objection for it. I make a motion that we do not, we send a letter of of objection to this.
Basically, they told me that she was out of the country. Did she ever come back? And they really weren't worried as to whether or not they got a renewal or not.
So you were under the impression that they already had the license?
No, I was under the impression that they didn't care one way or the other. And the bottom line is, when I went there, there was absolutely nobody in the place.
Yeah.
And I went there a second time, there was nobody in the place. And I went there a third time on a weekend, and there was nobody in the place. So apparently, they're really not doing any business. And it appeared to me that they really didn't care whether or not they got a license or not.
Well, we passed by there, and I think there was one guy sitting in the place, and that was it.
Employees were there, but there were no customers, but nobody was.
Well, it looked pretty dead. So we do have an objection with this place unless they come through with an explanation for that. So the motion is, we have an objection for this one place, and I'll take a second. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Okay. Any
Abstentions?
abstentions?
Yeah,
Okay, now the one
no, he's not abstaining.
that I have that little bit of an objection to, because we did, well, two. There's a Skyline Bar and Lounge, which are in our minutes, but it's not on your sheet. I don't know why.
Because it was tabled, I believe, wasn't it?
The Skyline Bar and Lounge on 1151 Wilkinson? Okay. Well, this place, we do have an objection, because we went there, and there was only one person in the place, and the bartender. Now, we looked around. It's a small place. They have one means of egress. They don't have a license that's posted in a conspicuous spot. We didn't see it. So we asked about, okay, you've got a full liquor license, which requires a food supply. Either you're going to bring it in or you're going to cook it. I asked the bartender, I said, where's your kitchen? He says, we don't have a kitchen. I says, oh, you bring your food in? He says, we don't have any food at all. Now, that's a violation. So as far as I'm concerned, and looking at the place, it's like 5 tables and a pool table in the back. And if anybody knows where this is, you know it's a pretty secreted place on Wilkinson Avenue. It used to be, what was the name? The recovery room, I think? Okay. Okay, ER? Okay. So my motion is that we send a letter of objection for this place.
You get a second? Shredder, Purdom?
Okay, any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor? All opposed?
Abstentions?
Okay.
No abstentions.
Okay, now the last one that I've got is used to be, which one is it? It used to be Captain's, it's no longer Captain's. Yeah.
1056 MP
Okay,
Pizza.
1056 Morris Park Pizza, LLC. Now, they're a very old establishment as Captain's. The new ownership, and if anybody here knows what Captain's looks like, It's got the front with a few seats and a pizza and everything else, and a kitchen and everything. Now, in the back is the seating area. And in the seating area, we have maybe a dozen tables. You have a bar back there. My problem with this place is they came in with actually three means of egress. Two being in the back where the dining area is. And two, you go down a small flight of stairs, and there are two doors. The doors lead out to an alley. Now, you can't get out of the alley. That's the problem, because they lock the main doors. So there's a gate door, a street-level gate door, that's locked. So even if you were able to get out from the dining room, you can't come through the front because that's probably where the fire is going to be. Now, I spoke to them about it, and I was a little ambivalent about it, but when I think about it, and I think they're going to take my suggestion because I'm going back, and I would say that I wanted to give you the facts, but I would say okay to this, and I will come back and check it and to make sure that that gate is locked, remains open while the restaurant is open. So my motion is that we send a letter of no objection, but I wanted you to know the facts.
You don't need a second because it was voted on the committee?
Sure.
Sandy Younger.
Maybe you could have them sign a stipulation stating that that gate will be open during business hours and closed after business hours, and make them sign it. I think that might cover it and make sure that it's adhered to.
Okay. That's,
Yeah.
They held to it.
okay.
That's number one. And number two, if that egregious a thing, I would have the fire department go over there, have them examine it. If they're breaking any rules or regulations, the fire department will take care of whatever they have to do to take care of it.
Well, they're definitely breaking rules because you can't get out.
I understand that, but you can't issue anything.
Yeah.
The fire department can. It's a safety issue. I mean, that's.
I second the motion.
So just a point of order is, if it's on the agenda, you don't need a second for any motion that's on the agenda.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
Because it is voted on in committee, you don't need a second. That's how it
Well,
works.
what about the stipulation that we just said? Is that voted on?
Well, I don't know if you want to.
Well, I'm good.
Add it.
I would like to vote on it tonight because this is a time-sensitive thing. And I think, judging from the ownership, I would believe that they would comply with this with no problem.
Adio Bakery took it over, by the way, that's a new owner.
All right, so motion of no objection. Any other discussion? No? Frano? Frano Zagretta has a question.
Oh, yeah.
Mike?
Okay.
Joe, as owners, they should know that those doors should not be locked. Therefore, I object to a recommendation of approval. Thank you.
Okay. So we'll take a vote on it. All in favor of no objection with the stipulation that they will comply. And I do believe they will.
Okay. Any against? We got Frano Zagretta? Any other against? Any abstentions? We got Yahya Obeid and David Levitt and Pat Charles. 3.
Okay.
And Andrea Siegel.
And Andrea.
So 4.
But I expect to report back on this at our next meeting, just to give everybody no headaches.
Motion carries.
Okay, that's it.
Debbie Colick, question?
Immediately.
Doesn't look like they have to come in and sign the stipulation.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. It's on. Was.
It wasn't done.
That'll be
well
done immediately.
I just want some clarification back on this skyline, because it was confusing as to where it was, and it wasn't making sense. Not only is it not in CB11, it's not in the 4-9.
It is.
It is.
No enterprise, where enterprise is on Eastchester Road.
By Bassett Avenue.
Around the corner.
It is.
It is.
It's all
Trust
right,
us.
okay.
We know. We've been doing it for a while. All right. So community development and budget priorities.
I'm
Andrew
sorry.
Siegel. Hold on. Sherrado has a question.
Jeremy, this is not pertinent to anything, but just that I noticed in all the committee you have excuse and absentees. On this committee, I didn't see you print anything here. I don't know why, and I don't know who is on this committee. I would like to know. Because there's some people that are absent and there's some people that are excused and they didn't print it here.
So it's there. I mean, where is it? Sorry. This is economic development, right? I mean, I didn't do the minutes.
I do the minutes.
Ron,
I
did the
did
minutes?
not add them. If you want them added, I can add them.
No, because I saw the committee have it.
Yeah. Historically, we didn't add them before, but if you want me to start adding them.
Yeah, we need to because we got absentees and everything.
That is done with the report.
Okay. Go ahead, now it's on.
That's not on the agenda. That's Gasolina. And I'm sorry, but Gasolina, we have no objections against Gasolina. We've been there, we went there, they've got a long history, and we have no objections to them.
So motion to send a letter of
Send
an
a
email of
letter
no
of
objection.
no objection.
Seconded by Christian Amato. Open for discussion. Fernando Zagretta. Question?
Wasn't this place
Mike?
an initial issue with a murder or something a couple
No.
years ago?
No, a shooting. No, it doesn't. No, it's got the same owners when the shooting happened. But you don't know, well, the story is very simple. 3 people were leaving Gasolina. A car drove up with 3 people in it and shot them. Now, at them. Now, one of the people that they shot at had a gun, chased them down, and he did the shooting to the guy that shot at them. Nobody died. That's what happened. Nothing happened in the bar. Nothing happened because of the bar. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
David Levitt.
Why didn't they come before the committee?
I don't know. Did we call them before the committee?
Yeah, we called him before the committee, the guy didn't have paperwork, he submitted the paperwork. He was waiting for a meeting, but it happened that Sky Lounge, the lady that I supposed to meet with Gasolina also, and with you, she said, you have my paperwork in your office, I don't have to come. I'm talking about Sky Lounge, not about the gentleman.
Well-
So he was more than willing to come and sit down and have an issue.
Well, Gasolina I've known for years. I've known the owners for years. They're very cooperative. They do charity work, and I have no objection to them.
So I just want to understand. The one applicant where there was a shooting didn't submit their paperwork, and which you may have a personal relationship with them. That's the one that you're recommending that we approve?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
understand.
I have a personal relationship with a lot of people in a lot of establishments. And this happens to be one of those places. And there was no shooting in Gasolina. These were people that you weren't listening. There were people that walked outside of Gasolina. Somebody drove by in a car and shot at them, but they had a gun and they chased the people with a car and they shot him.
Okay, so Don Gianni, you have a question?
There was a second incident where somebody was shot and killed on the corner of Mace Avenue and Boston Post Road after leaving Gasolina. Something broke out in Gasolina, and it came out onto the street, and somebody was shot, am I not mistaken, on Mace Avenue off of Boston Road approximately, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago? No, the other one carried off over by 135. That was the second incident.
Well, I know that the police have no trouble with this. They have no problem with this. These incidents did not happen in Gasolina, so I don't see your connections. Okay. Sure, go ahead.
The incidents that you guys are talking about occurred about 6 years ago. And it happened, all the information was brought here in front of this board, and Gasolina was denied. But guess what? SLA gave them the license. After that, whoever was the owner did a 180 He got so much involved with the police. In that time was Captain Walton. And everything changed on that place. And since then, we never had an issue of it. This gentleman has been with us in good conditions.
So Chris, did they not supply paperwork?
Yeah, they supplied the paperwork. It was
Just not in time for the.
Not in time for the meeting, economic development meeting. Yeah,
The last part is this. They were partners in Gasolina, and one partner left. And this is after a few little problems, what we're talking about, but had nothing to do with those problems. It's just that one of the partners left, and just one guy owns it now. That's all.
Okay. So it was
So
already
the motion.
It was already seconded, right? Any more discussion? No? All in favor? Aye. Any against? Any abstentions? Sandy, David, Pat Charles, Yahya B, Frano, Tony, Dom Shiano, and Andrea Siegel. I believe that will carry.
I believe you need a roll call vote, because an abstention is because I don't know how many people were.
How many is that against? No abstention, 9?
Okay.
So it passed. I mean, we have a majority of people. Nobody left yet, right?
Nobody left.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Yes. All right. So, community development, Andrew Siegel.
Okay.
Okay, as Jeremy has stated before, we attended the Bronxboro consultation meetings, and obviously we take away different things from this. First thing I wanted to talk about was School Construction Authority. For District 11, for 2020, they're predicting that they're going to need 2,124 seats, which does not include high school, only primary school through middle school. Okay, they have no idea where they're going to put these kids. They have no idea where they're going to build new schools, but they're predicting they're going to need 2,124 more new seats. Parks Department, Loretto Park, the construction is hoping to begin in the early spring 2020. The dog park on Pelham Parkway, they have installed a doggy bag dispenser, and they are making a fountain, and that is being paid for by parks themselves.
How much is that water thing gonna cost?
$25,000.
Originally, when they told us, originally it was 80 grand?
This is a small fountain, a regular fountain. They have the piping there already.
Good.
This is what I'm told.
But I'm
just
saying,
repeating
originally, when we had the first meeting.
Absolutely,
she says
$90,000.
$80 to $90,000.
Right.
Well, now the Parks is paying for it, it got less.
Yes, but they're giving her a hard time.
They could've got a Poland Springs truck and just left it there.
Okay, Department of Sanitation, this is something that I didn't know, so I'm just gonna let you people know about it. When people complain about a car on the street and they remove it, it goes into salvage. They do not store any vehicles, okay? I didn't know that, so just reporting that. When asked about additional signage for Curb Your Dogs, we were told that DOT feels that additional signage is useless and they will not be supplying that. The plastic bags from stores will be banned as of March 2020, and electronic recycling will restart as of October 1st, supposedly. And that's it.
Curb Your Dog signs that still probably get from Joe and I's office.
It's possible, but we
Yeah.
asked if they could put
We're going to try to create our own.
And we asked if they could put them in different areas. They said that sanitation won't do it because DOT feels it's useless.
We're going to try to create Curb Your Dog signs for our homeowners, like the flags, and distribute those to the public. Okay.
I have one more.
Residents, the community board level. Let's put that. Or business owners.
I have one more. And we met with also the small business services. This is something, again, that I was not aware of, that in order to have a bid in your community, you need 51% of the property owners to agree. I was not aware of that, so if I was not aware of it, I assume some others wouldn't be either.
Okay.
That's it.
Education Committee chairs could not be here tonight, but again, the Youth Leadership Award, we are looking for nominations for that. Mr. Baycoat for the Health and Social Services, please speak into the mic.
Good evening, and welcome back, board members, and also the new members. I am going to follow the objection of the board chair that you read the minutes. But one thing I want to say, that we had a very spirited meeting on September 10th. We voted to object to the rehab center by Carnegie Hill. And therefore, we also had a recommendation, and we also voted, but the voting, we were told that now it's not good, we can't use it. We can't use it. But however, I also had mentioned that we should have a town hall meeting. My experience with town hall meeting doesn't go well. And based on what we had there at our meeting, I could see what a town hall meeting would be like. And I'm opposing a town hall meeting, which would be sponsored, I guess, by the board, or even with the Health and Social Service Committee. But we did have a spirited meeting, and everyone there got their word in about not having this drug center at 2500 Williamsbridge Road. I keep thinking about Eastchester Road because that's near me. And that's the result of our committee. I'm not sure whether we want to present a committee, what you call it?
Town hall?
We don't know whether we want to have, you're right, yes. So we leave it at that as the Health and Social Service Committee object to having a drug center by Carnegie Hill Institute in our neighborhood. That's it.
Great, thank you, Joe. Housing Committee, Hazel Mura. Question, Darrell, okay?
There's a housing community active right now, right?
What's that?
It is active, right?
The Housing Committee?
Yes.
Yeah, they haven't had their first meeting yet. There's, a scheduling issue, but their proposed first meeting is going to be Thursday, October 3rd, and the first Thursday of every month thereafter.
The reason why I was asking about is because of the, the rise of homelessness and some of the homeless centers that's coming to the Bronx. So I wanted to know if they will be discussing that or Mr. Yeah.
So they,
Okay, Bacon.
I don't know if we remember, we did have a special meeting in August with the Health Committee and the Land Use Committee jointly about this issue. Basically, the city is coming to community boards, as I discussed earlier, and they want us to help them site locations. And as I also said earlier, no board has basically done that, even though, it's worth a try, right? Yeah, I know, we go down the list. Starting H for housing, Hazel?
Hi, everybody. So I just have some announcements. I'll just repeat what Councilman Jonai stated, that we are going to have a homeowners resource fair at Maestro's at 1702 Bronxdale Avenue. on August 2nd from 6:30 to 8. October 2nd, sorry. And it's very important that we get the word out because this is an opportunity for homeowners to come and meet with different city agencies because we do it in conjunction with Housing Preservation and Development, HPD. And it's an opportunity for homeowners to come and ask questions to the agencies. We're having sanitation, Department of Finance, of course, HPD, and other agencies that I can't remember. I had flyers to pass out to you, but I left them on my desk. But I will be sending them to the board so they can email blast them out to everybody. It's important that homeowners do attend this because their questions will be answered. And I don't know if you guys are aware that this year was a great accomplishment for tenants all over the state. We finally got our rent regulation reforms passed thanks to the Assembly and the State Senate, and a great gesture from all the tenants, all the organizations that have anything to do with housing throughout the city and the state. You don't know how important it is for rent regulations and tenants in this city, especially in our community, that are paying more rent than they should be. And it was really a great campaign for us. So with that, we are going to be having a tenants workshop at Bronx House on October 17th from 7 to 9, where we're going to be having a breakdown of the rent regs reforms and how they're going to be affecting tenants from now on, and of course property owners. It's crucial that every single rent stabilized tenant attend this because there's so many changes that have taken place, and it's a little confusing. And you'll be able to get information about the changes in preferential rents, the changes in MCIs, and the changes to individual apartment improvement increases. There's a lot of stuff that is out, that we're hoping to get out there, and the information we're hoping to get out there to the tenants. And as Jeremy said, our first meeting is going to be October 3rd. So I'm looking forward to working with the committee, and if anybody wants to come in and join us and bring up any housing issues that you may have that you want us to take a look at, you're more than welcome to attend. Thank you.
So that's a week from Thursday, and I'm sorry, Darrell, maybe I didn't fully answer your question. My first instinct is social services. HRA tends to be involved with homeless services, but housing, it's up to the housing committee if they want to take up the issue. But the first instinct is social services. Land use obviously was involved with this last one because there was a zoning issue question. So moving on to land use, I don't know if Ken wants to say anything about that issue or anything else.
We could meet in the front then.
We had a joint meeting, and what basically came down to is that there is a problem. There is a problem with citing homeless shelters. We don't have any say in it, and we're going to have to talk. We're going to have to talk to the council people and to see about how we can, basically, in a sense, amend the zoning code so that we have some say in it. Right now, basically, they can come in and put it wherever they want. Thank you.
They have to notify us 30 days in advance, but that's all they legally have to do, to my knowledge. Parks and Recreation, Pat Charles. We have Pat here.
Everyone.
Go ahead. Got it.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I thank everyone for just being here, and I just want to thank all the new faces. So as the Parks Committee co-chair, we don't have a chair yet because that's an issue that we have to address. However, I'm recruiting for the Parks Department, so we welcome all the new faces, and we hopefully wish that, some of you would like to come on board and sit down with us and allow us to have a quorum so that we can get some things done. Thank you.
Good. Public safety, Yahya Obeid.
All right, everything is in the minutes. The only thing I did not include was, as you know,
our precinct is tied with the second slowest response time to crimes in progress in the city out of 70-something precincts, which is extremely disappointing. It takes them almost 7 minutes to respond to a crime in progress versus some precincts in Queens which take about a minute or two. So it's extremely behind. The captain cannot speak or give specific reasons. He gave every other reason, then he could not say staffing. I am working with Councilman Marjonite to see if it is a staffing issue, if he can find information through the city that way. That's it.
So one thing that came up at Borough Budget Council stations yesterday with the PD, I've raised the issue of response times, and the response was not the best, but they are short-staffed. They did basically admit that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, they did announce that yesterday, that they were down, at least in relative to, I believe, last year. So sanitation, Tony Signorelli could not be here. I don't know if Joanne Terralonge had anything she wanted to announce. And then transportation. Okay. Transportation, Fran Zagretta.
The minutes are in your packets. Please read them. If you have any questions, you could ask. For the old members, welcome back. New members, welcome, and looking forward to working with all of you.
Any old business? Any new business? Edith Blitzer?
Hi, just a short thing. October 15th, right? October 15th, Pelham Parkway Neighborhood Association is having their monthly meeting. We're on transportation. Our guest is Commissioner Navarro Lopez. So if you have any questions, please come and ask him questions. He'll be glad to answer it. Also, I have to thank everybody concerned. We had a school supply giveaway a couple of weeks ago in the park. We gave out over 650 school bags with supplies. So I thank you all that contributed. Next year, we hope to make it bigger and better. Thank you.
Al D'Angelo?
I'm dedicated to trying to keep this meeting to 2 hours. So I know we had Mark tonight, but in the future, if we try to keep our comments as short as possible, this way, I see people yawning and people that haven't eaten dinner yet because they came right from work. So let's try to get out of here within 2 hours.
Joe Thompson?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to make an announcement. Usually the 49th Precinct Council meets the last Tuesday of the month. We couldn't do it this month, so we will be meeting October the 1st at the Morris Park Association, which is next Tuesday, and that's at 7:30. So if you got any police complaints, that's where you bring them. And you can talk to the commanding officer directly and to his people directly. And usually we have a representative from the district attorney's office.
Hey, Zamira? Okay, no, Edith Shkreli? It should be a green light.
I'm not sure if this is possible, but for instance, we were asked to vote on the 2500 Williamsbridge Road. That was one of the motions. And I see that the Health and Social Services Committee had a presentation by Carnegie Hill Institute. And I think in those cases, I think it would be fair if that was made public or made available to the board members. So if anyone wants to attend, I'm sorry, what I meant if we were notified that there was a presentation, because I would have preferred to go and actually listen to what they had to say before I can actually vote on it.
Yeah, that's what one person from the public complained about earlier. One of the issues for that was basically not confirming the meeting till I think the day before. The applicant couldn't come, and we said, well, you have to come, and then eventually they said, okay, we could come, but Joe was on vacation. A lot of back and forth. We did notify interested parties prior to. I did say to the person that complained about the lack of notification that we'll do better in the future, and just giving more people a heads up. So unless there's anything else with that, I know Shrato had a question, and then Dom Shiano.
Jeremy, I know you didn't ask about education and youth, but I just want to add, you could read the minutes, it's there, but there's one thing I want to touch on is the Yankee Award. We have to turn in all those applications by 10/31st. And I ask all the organization that is participating in this, please bring your application by 10/31 so we can review it to select 5 persons. Thank you.
Okay, Dom Shiano?
Yes, at that meeting that we had with the people from 2500 Williamsbridge Road, one of the gentlemen there, what was the guy's name from, he made a statement saying that this did not take the place of their obligation. Right. So in other words, before they can do something, they have to have some kind of an open meeting with the general public. And I think what Joe was trying to say was that we need a town hall about it. So when they do schedule something like that, you'll be notified about it well in advance, and you're more than welcome to attend. As a matter of fact, you might even be required to attend.
It's off. Go ahead.
I understand, but, I mean, there was a motion. So I think before I can vote on anything related to it, I think I would want to know more about it. I think it's fair, right?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Believe me, it's going to come up quite a few more times.
And as soon as we get the minutes, we do our best to publish them to the website. So that's something else to be aware of. If you have questions, feel free. Any other new business? Motion to adjourn?
Second.
By Edith, second by Tony. All in favor? Meeting ended at 9:33 p.m.